Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. I got some new lighting because one of my lights fell out of the ceiling. Less than ideal. However, things happen in life. You pivot, you move forward, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. For those watching on YouTube, you will see I got this Rembrandt lighting going on. I have one light to the right, my fill light to the other side, so I look even. It's not there. But Rembrandt lighting is a very well-known lighting. It's used in modeling primarily and portraiture and to create contrast, to create beauty. Sometimes when things quote unquote fall apart, it actually falls together. It falls in a way unexpected, and it wasn't what you thought it would be, but it's better in its own way. Don't fear change. Change is inevitable. It's the only guaranteed thing in life. Change. But we put so much energy into keeping things the same because we're comfortable there. We understand that. It's in change you actually grow. Who knows? Maybe we'll keep this lighting situation. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't. But you never know unless you try. You must push forward regardless of the situations at hand. It is very little in life to do with what happens to you, but very much to do with how you respond and you react to those things that occur. That's what creates these experiences. That's what creates these opportunities. Is as you think, I thought I put up these lights. I set up the lighting situation in the studio about a year ago. And it's been that way for a year. And maybe it's time for a change. Maybe I've used up the resource that was my 2-light setup. And maybe I need to go to a single light setup. Where in your life do you need to adapt? Do you need to adjust? You've done the 2-light setup for too long. It has worn out its use and efficacy. That's what I had to thought about right now. But that's not the thought that I came down here to shoot on. I was upstairs working with dollar bill, y'all. I was working with my plant. And for those that have listened to these episodes, this plant has had quite a few life experiences within. I got this plant 3 years ago when we moved into this house. And I would say I don't have a green thumb, except for now with dollar bill, y'all. But everything that my wife and I got by way of plant, it died. No matter what we tried. We tried so hard. We got like succulent plants. These things are indestructible. Yeah, we still killed it. We forget about it. We would not take care of it in the way that it needed to be taken care of. And this plant, dollar bill, y'all, meant so much to us because of the gift and the nature in which it was given. I had it for 2 years in the same pot with the same soil. No wonder the dang thing started to die. No wonder it struggled. I didn't put the right amount of water. I didn't have the right frequency of watering and the right frequency of nutrition, fertilizer. We use liquid fertilizer. How often you should do that. How often you should change the soil. How often you should change the pot. It was too big for the pot. Therefore, the leaves weren't flourishing. They weren't dark green. And I finally took the time, so much time, 30 minutes, to do a little bit of research to find the pot size, the soil type, and the fertilizer type, and the frequency to which you should fertilize and water. I do those simple things. It took 30 minutes of my time to figure all this out, get it all ordered. And it took about 15 minutes to change the soil, change the pot. And it takes all of like a minute and a half at most once a week to water this thing and fertilize this thing at the frequency it likes. And then we have growing seasons. I learned quite a bit about this plant in doing the things that need to be done. I'm not just saying I just watered it. I watered it with a specific type of water. I did the things that help it flourish. Use cold water. Instead of using RO, I use tap water because tap water has way more mineralization in it. Plants need mineralization. They're used to dirt outside and rainwater and stuff running on them. So, all that in mind, I've got this plant that is flourishing. It's so full and it's so glorious. The leaves are so dark green. And I love looking at it. I actually look at it every day. And so many life lessons have extrapolated from this plant. And in the last couple of weeks, this plant's leaves are starting to wrinkle a little bit. They're starting to curl in. Because I watch it every day, I'm seeing these changes. Some of the leaves start having discoloring. Some of the leaves had their tips starting to dry out. Even though I'm watering it, I'm fertilizing it. One thing I haven't done in quite some time, you're supposed to change the soil every 6 to 8 months. It's been closer to 10 months because I've just been busy. Here's the thing. When I changed the soil this morning, it was 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Everybody can spare 5 minutes in a day. But I made it some big, oh, I don't have time to do that. It makes a mess. It's dirty. Whatever. The root bulb is really sensitive. You don't want to tear the roots, so you got to do it in a very gingerly type of manner. All these excuses as to why I shouldn't do it that day. I finally did it, changed it all. And then it came time to prune the leaves. And this is the lesson that I want to cover today. You must prune leaves on a plant to keep it flourishing. Leaves have a life cycle, and the plant will naturally drop the leaves as the leaf is totally consumed and it's non-salvageable. It grows a leaf. At some point, that leaf dies, and the plant will drop it. If you want a plant to expeditiously grow, you want it to be big and beautiful and succulent and amazing, you have to prune the leaves. Master, what's the word I'm looking for? People that take care of vineyards, they will groom their trees. My parents growing up had fruit trees. You had to groom the trees and prune the trees every year if you wanted maximum fruit development. You want the best fruit, you had to prune the trees. Same thing goes for my little money tree for dollar bill, y'all. I got to pull the leaves off that are dying. When I go to do this, without fail, I put off doing it. I see the leaves are changing. I see that some are becoming a little diseased, a little dry, a little crusted. And these leaves naturally are the biggest ones because they're the oldest. And I'm so apprehensive to pull and prune these leaves off of my plant because it's big and it's full and it's beautiful and I don't want to tear the leaves off. So I finally bring myself to do it. And keep in mind, this has been like 2 weeks of every day watching it slowly go downhill. And at the final point of, I got to get this done, I pull one leaf and I'm being really picky, choosy about, okay, I need to pull this leaf off. So I break the leaf off, then I break another leaf off. And the first couple leaves are quite painful. It is with trepidation that I'm pulling these leaves off, even though I know it's for the betterment of my plant. It is difficult at first. And then as I pull more leaves off, more leaves off, more leaves off, it becomes easier. And now I just have a frenzy free-for-all and I pull all of the leaves off that are dying, diseased, drying out, or even show that they're not flourishing. I rip them all off. When I used to do this originally, the plant would only have like 5 or 6 or 7 total leaves. And it looked sad and it looked weak and it wasn't full. And as I kept doing this, more and more and more and more branches and more stems would come off. And with money trees, each stem has 4 leaves. And now, after I finished breaking all these off, I probably broke off 10 or 20 leaves. I stood back and I looked at dollar bill, y'all, and that tree was so full still, it didn't even look like I pulled anything off. So that gives you an idea of how many leaves are on this plant now. But that's the thing. When I first started pruning, it made it very barren. Now, because I keep on pruning, I keep on refining, it is so full that you can't even notice that I pruned it. And I know that because I pruned it, the leaves that are coming through, there's quite a few little saplings on there. Those will have more energy and can utilize the nutrition instead of trying to heal and fix the weak or broken or diseased ones. It can now put them to the new saplings. I want you to think about this tree in your life. It's kind of funny that I've had, this is my 3rd or 4th episode on this little money tree. But so much life experience can be drawn from this little tree. In your life, where are you pruning? Do you need to prune? When was the last time you pruned your friends? Maybe some people in your family. Maybe things you're drawn to or hobbies that no longer serve you. Maybe a job that no longer serves you. Maybe it's duties or tasks in a job that you shouldn't be doing or that you once did and are no longer part of your job description, but you still do because it's comfortable. Who knows what it is? Maybe you like to eat out. Maybe you really love donuts and you should probably ditch donuts. I did that 2.5 years ago. And now I'm ready to reintroduce donuts, but I'm going to be very, very picky, choosy about which donut. It's got to be a good one. What I'm getting at is pruning is not only necessary, but it's required. It is a painful thing to do when you prune. The first couple of leaves to prune off is very difficult. There is trepidation. It is exhausting, and it's a little bit sad. But as you start pruning and seeing the benefits, it will become easier, and you'll see the necessity of pruning in your life. Friends are designed to be in your life for a season. As you grow, if your friends grow with you, cool, they're still there. But if they don't, it's time for them to drop off. They served their purpose. You blessed them. They blessed you. It's time to move on. Some of my very, very, very best friends growing up that I still keep in contact with, I'm not saying ditch them entirely. I still keep in contact with them. But I don't hang out with them every day. I don't call them every day. In fact, it's pretty rare that I call them for none other reason than we're just in two different places in life. And that's okay. They're happy where they're at. They're happy being in this status quo. Some other of them, they want to grow, but they don't know how. There's so many resources, but they're comfortable in what they know. We are all like that. But it's so important to move forward with that which you know you need to do. You need to be pruning off friends, family, jobs, hobbies, whatever, in order to make room for the new. I've said it many times. You only have a certain amount of energy. You only have a certain capacity. And if you leave that capacity and energetic fulfillment by these things, it will not leave room for new things, for evolving things. And if you stay stuck with the things you have, you will not leave room for new and you will not grow at a rate that you could. Keep in mind, that tree will drop the leaves on its own. If you don't prune it, it will do it. Very few times. I've seen maybe 5 or 6 leaves in total ever around my plant because I'm fairly active with pruning it. In your life, if you do not actively prune, things will fall off, but it'll fall off when it is truly dead. Not when it's dying and pulling resource. When it's dead, it'll drop it. So you can either be efficient and effective and move forward with urgency, or they will fall off on their own. In the end, it's inevitable. If you're going to where you're trying to get to, if you're trying to expand yourself, they will fall off eventually. You can either be intentional about that drop off and expedite growth, or they will inevitably fall off because they're dead to you. And that leads to a relationship that's not to be salvaged. Probably never talk to them again because they just fell off. But like I said, my friends that I actively and intentionally pruned off, I still talk to them. I still invite them to my kids' birthday parties. I still go to their kids' birthday parties. I still go to family parties. I still go to events and I still message them periodically and check in to see how they're doing because I'm trying to be a light for them too. And they still contribute to me. They remind me of where I came from. They remind me of who I am and what it took to get here. They remind me of core values and core principles on who I am. It's important to prune actively, intentionally in your life. It is the only way you're going to get to where you're going as fast as you possibly can. So, with that thought, I want you to share this episode with your friends, your family, your loved ones, those you want to see help grow. Listen to them. Actively listen to these episodes. They are life experiences that you can learn through me. vicariously through me. And that is the number one thing I get from podcasts and books is I vicariously learn from other people. I learn from their mistakes and I learn from their wins. So not only do I learn from my own mistakes and my own wins and my own losings and my own learnings, learn from other people's. And in doing so, you get to where you're going faster. This acute set of experiences that I once said several weeks ago. That's how you do it. So I leave this with you. Find me on the socials, Mr. Brad Draper. Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys.